Hello, everybody. This is your daily real estate practice exam question. And this is a great one because it's super confusing unless you follow the bouncing ball. You have to stick with this question. So I'm going to read it, and then we're going to get into what's going on here so that you could get an understanding of why the answer is the answer. Okay? Scott, his nephew, and his niece. Okay? So I'm going to write it up here. Scott, nephew, and niece are all joint tenants. Okay, so they own a property as joint tenants, means they have rights of survivorship. Scott sells his interest to his sister, and let's name his sister Rose. Okay, so Rose right over here has Scott's interest now, and then his nephew dies. Okay, so the nephew dies. As a result, which of these statements is true? I'm going to read through all of these, and then we're going to go back up to the illustration up top. Okay? The nephew's heirs and Scott are joint tenants, but the sister is a tenant in common. So the nephew's heirs, well, that's not going to be accurate because they're joint tenants. That means they have rights of survivorship, meaning that this situation right here, all three of those have rights of survivorship. So, in this scenario, the nephew dies, nephew's heirs are not going to get anything because it's going to dissolve into the remaining joint tenants. That's important. It's going to dissolve into the remaining joint tenants. So, this answer, wrong. Right there. Next one, the nephew's heirs are joint tenants with Scott and his sister. Oh, guess what? Another one, wrong, because the heirs get nothing. Because what happens in joint tenancy, you have the rights of survivorship, which means the ownership dissolves into the remaining owner or owners that are joint tenants. So we're left with two separate answers. Scott's niece and sister are joint tenants, or Scott's niece and sister are tenants in common. So we have the niece here, the sister here. Now, what happens is this: whenever we create joint tenancy, we have to have the unity of time, title, interest, and possession. Okay? Time, title, interest, and possession. So when Scott, sells his interest to his sister, Rose, what happens here is this: Rose becomes tenants in common with the remaining owners, which are the nephew and the niece. Okay? Now, the nephew and niece, though, still remain as joint tenants. Theirs doesn't change. It's simply that Scott does have the right to sell his interest. Scott sold it to his sister. And because they do not meet the unities of time, title, interest, and possession, means that Rose over here is not going to be a joint tenant with the nephew and the niece. So in this situation, D would be an incorrect answer. So the correct answer is this: Scott's niece, who got her interest when the nephew died, right? Because the ownership dissolves. We said the nephew's heirs get nothing because they cannot get that interest from the nephew when he dies because it automatically goes to the joint tenant. Okay, it dissolves into it. That's the right of survivorship. That's the benefit of being joint tenants. It's the only reason you would want to be joint tenants. So Scott's niece and the sister are tenants in common because we already said that the tenant that Rose over here can only be a tenant in common with the remaining owners. So that is the answer, C. Guys, I hope you like that one. That was a tricky one. Keep submitting questions like this to me because I love seeing these. I love helping you out. That was submitted on our Facebook group, and the info for our Facebook group is down below in the description box. Join. Love having new people. We post new things all the time, and I try to answer as many questions as humanly possible in there. And again, guys, if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and I'm going to see you real soon.